What's going on, everyone? My name is Kodamore and welcome back to the New Beginner Java Game Programming Tutorial Series, episode 23. In this episode, we are going to change the way our game camera works. Right now, whenever our player reaches one of the edges of our world, the camera continues to scroll with it, leaving all of this ugly white space that's really unappealing. So what I want to do is I want to make it so that whenever the player reaches the edge of the world, like this for instance, the player can keep moving, but the map will stop scrolling, not showing any of this ugly white space. Because to me, all this white space looks really bad in any game, and I absolutely hate it. So that is what we are going to fix, not really fix, but add to today. To begin with, go on into your world class, and at the bottom, create two getters for the width and height of our map. Get width will just return the width of our map, and I'm just doing this so that we can access the width and height of our map outside of this class. Get height, we will just return height, like so, just so we can access the width and height of our world. Then we're going to go into our game camera class. Now, a couple of tutorials ago, we added the handler class and changed a bunch of stuff, but I completely forgot to change the game camera class. So instead of storing a game object, we are instead going to store a handler object. So I'm going to do Alt-Shift-R in Eclipse here and rename this to handler instead of game, and then we are going to make it a handler object. And we are going to take in a handler object instead, and I will rename all of these to handler. Go ahead and import your handler class like so. Now you guys should all understand this. We did this to every class back in the tutorial where we created the handler class. And I apologize for not fixing the game camera class in that tutorial. But everything is okay now. We added the handler to our game camera. Now in our game class, we just have to fix up a few things. I am going to create the handler before we create the game camera up here. And then whenever we create the new game camera, we are going to pass in handler instead. And that should fix all of our errors. Our game should work exactly like it did. Okay, so now we got all of the housekeeping stuff out of the way. Let's actually fix the way our camera moves. I'm going to create a new method, public void. I'll just call it check blank space. So it'll check if the camera is currently showing any blank space to us. And if it is, we are going to fix it so that there is no blank space. Now, if we go on into our game here, let's focus on the x-axis here, the left edge of our map. Basically, the x offset is equal to 0 right here at the edge of our map. So all we have to do is check if the x offset is less than 0, meaning we are showing some blank space. We are just going to reset it back to 0, that way we don't show any blank space. It's as simple as that, and we do the same thing for y. If the y offset is less than 0, meaning there's white space up here, just reset it equal to 0 to show only the top of the map. So, in our check blank space method, if x offset is less than 0, then we just set x offset equal to 0. And then we're going to do the same thing for y. If y offset is less than 0, then we are going to set y offset equal to 0. Now if we go ahead and run our game, you are going to see nothing. Nothing has changed. And that is because we aren't calling the check blank space method anywhere. So in your center on entity, after you do all of your calculations, you want to check blank space to make sure our calculations aren't showing any blank space. And we're going to do the same thing after we move the camera. Check blank space like so. And then you can also add it to the set, y, and x offset methods, but I'm not going to do that for now. So, whenever we center on entity, or move the camera, it will check the blank space as well and run this method. So if we run our game, look at that. The camera will allow us to still move our player clearly, but it stops scrolling and we no longer see any of that ugly white space. It is great. It already looks much better. Now we just have to fix the right and bottom edges of our map to not show any white space as well. So how do we do that? Well, if we're doing the x offset, let's say, what we have to do is we have to check, is our x offset greater than the world's width in pixels, so the width of our world in pixels, minus the width of our window. And we have to subtract the width of our window, that way the calculation is done kind of at the right edge instead of this left edge here, or else we would still be showing a bunch of white space. So let's put that into action. We are going to add an else if statement to our x offset here, and we're going to say else if our x offset is greater than the width of our world, so handler.getWorld.getWidth times tile.tile width, and we have to do that to get the width of our world in pixels, not tiles, minus handler.getWidth to get the width of our window. Now if this is true, and we are showing some white space to the white, then we're going to set x offset equal to this whole equation that we just typed out right here. So I'm going to copy that and paste it down here, go ahead and import everything, and that is it. Now if we travel all the way to the right edge of our screen, the camera should stop scrolling just like it does. Perfect. Look at that, it's already working with a bit of simple math. Now we're just going to do the same thing with y offset, else if y offset is greater than handler.getWorld.getHeight to get the height of our world, multiplied by tile.tileHeight to get the height of our world in pixels, minus the height of our window. And if that's true, then we're going to set y offset equal to this whole equation that we once again just typed out. And there we go. That is it. That is, or should be, hopefully, if it works, the end of this tutorial. Look at that. It works. The camera stops scrolling when we reach the edge of it. The game looks much better now because we can't see any of that ugly white space. It really does make a difference. Trust me, I'm glad we added this feature and it looks really nice now. If you guys didn't understand anything or you have any questions whatsoever, go ahead and ask them down below in the comments. Again, the source code is all available on my website as well. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.